Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Hunter and I'm an ophthalmologist, and today we're going to talk about how the eye works. So to get an idea of how an eye works, first we want to talk about what an eye looks like, and in medical terms, that's the anatomy. So let's draw that out. So if you were to take an eye and look at it from a side angle, kind of in this direction, this is what you would see. There's different parts to the eye, and ultimately it all boils down to making it look like a camera. More accurately, a camera kind of looks like an eye, and that's not a mistake, because what a camera does is it uses lenses to take a very large image and focus it very sharply and very small onto a piece of film. That's the general way that an eye works as well. If we imagine for a second that this eye is looking at, say, let's pick something big, a tree. A tree is very large, much larger than an eye. So how do we take that tree and shrink it down very small the way it needs to be? Well, the first step is those light rays from the tree must come into the front of the eye. Everything that we look at is either emitting light or reflecting light, or else we can't see it. So in this case, the light from the sun, it shines down onto this tree. And then those light rays get reflected, and the ones that come to our eye make it to our cornea. What is a cornea, you may ask? It's a good question. This is a cornea. The cornea is this clear dome that's on the front of the eye. It's part of the wall of the eye. All the way around here, this eye is walled in by tough, fibrous tissue that's called the sclera. But when it makes it to the front of the eye, that same collagen gets really perfectly arranged in order to become perfectly transparent, and we call that the cornea. Now the thing about the cornea is it's a very powerful lens. It's able to take a very large tree, a very large anything, and shrink it down and focus it much smaller. That's through a process called refraction. Refraction is just taking the light rays from any object and making them change shape and direction in order to become more focused. So, the cornea refracts the light rays from the tree. It makes them smaller and more focused. But next up, it makes it to the pupil. And the pupil is the center of your iris. The iris is the colored part of your eye. If you have blue eyes, you have a blue iris. Brown eyes, brown iris, and so on. The pupil is right here. And the iris is here. It's also down below here. Now if you remember, we're looking at an eye from the side, so really all of this circles around 360 degrees, which is why your pupil is round. So the pupil, it acts like a pinhole. It also acts as an aperture to let more light in when it's dilated and less light in when it's smaller and constricted. The pupil takes the best light rays, the most focused ones, and lets them through to make it to the next lens, which has an easy name to remember because it's just called the lens. Now your lens has a special feature to it. It is able to autofocus. The corneal shape that you've got, that determines the power of that cornea. It determines how much that lens focuses things. Your lens inside your eye is not built that way. It has a certain amount of innate power, a certain refractive index, but beyond that, it has these fibers, these little things called zonules that stick in from the side and hold on to the skin of it called the capsule. And then this ciliary muscle right here, which is able to flex and make the lens thicker or more shallow. So if something's very far away, your lens doesn't have to do much flexing, but if it's close, it has to do a lot, which is why you have the ability up until about the mid-40s of your life to look at things far away and up close with a certain amount of autofocus. So with this tree, it comes in, gets refracted by the cornea. These light rays are now smaller, and only the best ones have made it through to this lens, and they are further focused as they do that. And as we get all the way to the back of the eye, we've made it to the film in the camera. But in this case, it's not film, it's this very delicate 10-layered neurosensory tissue called the retina. And the retina, it's the wallpaper all across the back of your eye. It starts way up here by this ciliary muscle that we were talking about, and it goes all the way back. The part of the retina that matters the most by far is the part in the middle called the macula. The macula is where all of your sharp vision resides. All of your color vision is also in your macula. If you've ever tried to look at something very far away, very dim, on a dark night, you might notice that you can't see it if you look directly at it, but you can if you look just a little bit above it. It's because the macula is really good with color vision, but all of your dim, low light vision, your night vision, is all this stuff out here. Right in the middle of the macula is our very best vision, and that's called the fovea. And the fovea is where the magic happens, because now we've taken this large tree, it's gotten focused all the way down to where you have a very, very tiny tree. It's upside down and backwards, but it's focused on the fovea. Your retina takes everything in upside down and backwards, and then your brain translates it all to be the right size and shape and in the right direction. Now, how does it get to your brain? There's one cable plugged into the back of your eye that carries all of that information. It has about 1.2 million little neurons inside of it, but if you bundle all of them together, it's called the optic nerve. The optic nerve carries that signal of information back to the brain where it can be processed, and then we get an image. And that's how your eye works. Vision works by using both your eye and your brain, and we'll get to that another time.